What is going on, guys? Iron Noob's coming back at you with another video. This video we're gonna try something new. It's not gonna be really an AD money making or anything like that. It's just gonna kind of be a tips video. Here, since mod 14 has dropped, the campaign allows people to basically go and start the campaign and get like 440. I believe it's 440 gear for free, and so you're seeing a lot of these characters get into the game that don't know what they're doing. And I can't tell you how many times I've ran Castle Never in the last couple weeks where the first thing I'm doing nowadays is I'm looking at people's gear, and if they're wearing Vistani gear, I already know it's going to be a horrible run. So just to show y'all, I'm actually just going to pub this, and hopefully I'm going to get a half-ass decent team to be able to show uh, what what you're actually supposed to do in the dungeon. I'm sorry, I'm kind of I just popped finally mythic on one of my artifacts, so I'm pretty excited about that. I popped it within 3 press rewards, so I'm pretty excited about that. But I'm gonna pause the clip here, and then I'll show y'all when I'm going into the queue, and we'll go from there. Alright, so here we go. We are getting into the dungeon here. This is gonna be possibly a longer video. I'm gonna kind of probably fast forward through just the randomness of going around and killing stuff. So like I said, I actually started looking at these guys. This guy looks like he's pretty decent, full mythic artifact, so looks like I got at least a good tank, so that's always good news for me. This first set of mobs, they hit hard. Dude, if you are a newer player, you are not a tank or anything like that, do not just run into these mobs. You will be one shot. So we're gonna go ahead and kill these dudes, and like I said, I'll probably do a lot of speeding up while in this clip, or while in this dungeon, and that way it's not just basically me not saying anything throughout most of the dungeon. I really wish they'd make this to where you could escape out of this little cutscene, but you can't. I've seen it so many times. Also, I'm probably gonna try to find just some music to kind of put in the background while I am farming this, and that way if I do decide not to cut it and speed it up, that we can kind of just go about it. So this first little hallway here, actually let me go ahead and pop a couple of buffs real quick. I've still got some time on my elixir, so I should be okay. How much time did I got there? Oh yeah, I got plenty of time. Armor pin and life steal, not really needed. So obviously normal rules apply. Try to stay out of the red lines, things like that. As you can see, big red circle there, stay out of it. After this, it's gonna pop a set of demons here and a set of demons here. I usually try to hit this first set. These demons will push you. As you can see to my right, there's a big red line. Also, I gotta try to concentrate on keeping most of these people healed. As you can see, I got pushed from behind from the set of demons here, and a guy died. So if I look at his gear, now I am a DC, so a lot of people automatically expect me to strictly heal, but I'm a DPS DC, so if I look at this guy, he's actually got pretty decent gear on, so him dying was probably just a fluke. When you go into here, you're gonna have to pick a rift. Don't go into somebody else's rift. There's 5 players in the party, there's 5 rifts for a reason. So go into your own rift. Wow, that was a huge lag there. But go into your own rift. That's another thing that I can't stand, is when I go into my rift and somebody follows me and then a rift doesn't get done. So that's a big, I don't like that at all. I'm actually gonna switch one of my powers over. Not Astral Steel, Sacred Flame. Now, I've ran this dungeon a lot. I know how strong my character is. I seem to be having a little bit of lag. So I will do stuff like this where I'll attack before the tank gets up there, but I know what I can handle. If you're a newer player, please don't Just don't try to rush in and then get mad because I didn't heal you, or your DC didn't heal you because you thought you were gonna gung-ho into this dungeon. This dungeon is easy if you know what you're doing and if you're stronger, but you still can die. Make sure to stay out of that dude's red. He will, unless you're a stronger character, I mean, and when I mean stronger, I mean stronger, he will one-shot you. So we're coming into the first boss. The damage isn't super high, so I'm not going to switch over to Break the Spirit. I know I'm a scrub like that, and I don't want to help anybody's DPS. This dude, there's a mechanic in here where you will get tethered to somebody. There will be a green line that goes across, and you will be tethered to somebody. As you can see right there between those two characters, stay away from the character you are tethered to. You will you will bump into them and do massive amounts of damage. Why am I so zoomed in? I can't. You will get dealt massive amounts of damage. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my screen here. There we go. As you can see right there, they're tethered again. It is random. There's no certain person that's going to get tethered to. Just make sure you stay out of the way of the guy that you're tethered to, because you will get, you will basically die if you don't. And for any DCs that are watching this, if you see anything wrong with my rotation, you know, let me know. I'm not the best DC in the world. I wouldn't even pretend I was. Go on to this next room here. That boss actually took quite a while. I'm actually surprised. Normally, the boss melts. I usually get into runs. I like this run to be roughly about 15 minutes. So we're at 6 right now. So it is a little bit of a slower run. But if you notice, I hate when they do that, because my skills are AoEs and I hate when they knock them back. But if you look at the DPS board, the DPS is pretty low in here. So that demon dude right there, like, as you can see, this guy thought he was a freaking boss, and he's sitting over here dead now. You know, it's like, dude, you're not a tank. Quit trying to tank. People need to learn their roles, and that's the biggest thing that bothers me. Yes, I am a healer, like I said, but I'm a DODC, which means I debuff while healing, and I also do a bit of damage myself. And just to let y'all in on a little secret, I'm not the best healer in the world. I'm out here trying to get high numbers, but I also know the roles. I've got some lag on me. Golly, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, if you look at the DPS board, I'm second at 18 million, so that should never happen. The DC should never be up that high. I like getting that high, but that means I'm in a bad DPS squad, so that kind of sucks. I really hate when paladins use that knockback skill. I used to main a paladin, and I don't think I ever knocked enemies back. I may have. As you can see, they're tethered. Boom, you saw that? They got hit big time. Luckily, none of them died. This was actually a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be, commentating while doing the dungeon. Sorry, my rotation normally isn't this bad, but I'm trying to make sure I'm paying attention to what I'm saying at the same time as doing the dungeon. Like I said, these mobs. Oh, get away from him, because they almost died. As you can see, Zod up there, that GWF at the top of the list there. And sometimes you don't get tethered at all. Sometimes you get tethered every opportunity they can tether you. So it sucks. As you can see, tethered again. And he actually died that time. So, and I'm not saying it's because they don't know what they're doing. They probably do. They're just not paying attention. And I've noticed while playing this game that there's actually quite a bit of, I guess, foreign. Ah, man, what's with that lag? There's actually quite a bit of foreign people. Obviously, being that there's only one server for basically everything but Russia. So, enter the rift. So, when you step into here, basically, you're going to go around and you're trying to stop these mobs from reaching this middle bubble here. So, you need to get 20 of them. So, just come in here and basically DPS mobs down. You'll notice for DCs that are watching why I'm not using my divinity is because I like to save it for when I get to Lich, which, like I said, I'm being stingy because I probably could build it up. Golly, man, my timing is just so off on everything. Alright, 18 of 20, so I won't use my design. So this next boss, when you walk into the room, it's going to show the roof, and the reason for that is because if you don't DPS him in time, basically you'll flip upside down and end up on the roof, and if you land in the spikes, there's a good chance you're going to die. And it's not something that a DC can really out heal or anything like that. I've died a couple of times if I'm not paying attention. Normally, while you're fighting the boss, some squares will pop up. You'll see red squares instead of like the red lines or red circles. You'll see red squares, and that's where the squares are actually going to be. So you can actually avoid the damage if you're paying attention. Now, the first two bosses, you can't skip the cutscene, but Orcus, and I'll explain that. As you can see the spikes there, Orcus you can skip, so I'll explain that when we get to Orcus. And I can already tell you right now, this squad is, the room's gonna flip on us probably more than once. Like I said, I guess I could have been not a dick and put on Break the Spirit, but then that means I'd have to give some DPS up. And as you can see, the floor flipped. Nobody died, luckily. But it does happen. I knew it was going to happen with this squad. I'm gonna get this damn mob off me over here. Okay, I guess I'll get the mob off me. And the reason for that is because I'm AoE DPSing. You can see floor flipped again. Nobody was in the spikes. Now if you're in a good burn group, that won't happen. You can kill him faster than he's gonna flip the floor on you. No drop, that's alright. Get a good healing on everybody. But I run a DO, so the only actual healing skill I use. Okay, sorry to cut that off, but this is Navigate the Darkness after Lich. There's some bodies right there. You will wake them up. So what you need to do is step over here to the benches, jump over the benches. Jump over the benches. You can actually, this room, you can walk right next to them, but the bodies are there to the right. The minute you step into that room, immediately get on the benches. Your companions will not wake them up. This is where a lot of people die right here, because even noobs that wake those mobs up, not a big deal. Depending on what class you have, this green circle, you need to roll through it, dodge through it, sprint through it. Whatever class you have is what needs to be done. You can wait until that one passes. They go in a circle, you can't avoid them. So let me see if I can. He was moving a little too fast for me. Tried to drop a heal on him. But basically you need to, as you can see, it said dodge. So you're going to come up here. Most people are going to come stand in this corner and wait for the tank to show up. There's one more ball, and there's a group of mobs in this next room we're going into. Let's see. I think I already inspected this guy. So it looks like everybody, well, he's got Vistani axes on, so you never know. You come into this room, the tank is going to take the mobs into the corner, kill them, while avoiding that green circle. I have no divinity ready for the boss, that sucks. Okay. Now this is Orcus's room. Orcus's cutscene you can skip, and I suggest skipping it, especially if you're a tank. So you're going to come into this room, and he's going to do some massive damage. Usually only the tank can survive it. So don't try to gung-ho in here and run right away, because I don't know, a healer, maybe healers can, like an AC healer, maybe they can out-heal it. I can't, and I'm pretty decent at healing. I just like to check my damage. I'm at 34 million. Nah, I ain't doing too bad. Who are we waiting on? Okay. Invoke real quick while we're waiting here. So you'll see when that starts, hit escape. Get out of that right away. The tank's gonna use his buff to try to keep us alive. Start DPSing the boss. Now, I have noticed people will say when he puts his arms up, don't attack him. Supposedly, I'm going to go ahead and rob that while it's up. When he puts his arms up, they'll say don't attack him, because supposedly it stops him from doing his massive attack. I've never noticed it make a difference. Right there. So, and you'll notice, boom, health. He hits you for about 80% of your damage. That green ball, I can out heal it for the most part, but if your healer's not out healing it, then get out of the way of it. It's the same as the hallway balls. It'll pick a random player and it'll just hit you. Same thing applies in here. You can get tethered, so avoid the tether. For the DPS classes, towards the end of the boss, he will spawn rifts like the first rift, and you want to avoid the rift. Or, I mean, not avoid the rift, you want to kill the rift. This is the same thing as the enter the rift room. You're just going to try to DPS these mobs down, kill them. My screen, there it is. I was going to say my screen was glitched for a moment. I don't know why I dropped that there. My screen was glitched for a minute. It wasn't showing the green circle, but basically, as you can see, there's the bars to the right of the screen. You want to get the blue one up faster than the red one's going up. The more they get in there, the more the red one goes up, the worse it gets. So that blue tether that's on me right now, that's not the actual tether, so that's why I'm not freaking out. That's the paladin skill. And for the tanks, because like I said, I used to main a paladin, don't run around for the newer tanks while you're tanking the boss. Don't hit the boss and put your shield up and walk around the boss, because you're going to get everybody killed. You are the only one that can tank his hits. I'm actually going to use my heal there. Good thing I did, because the boss spawned. As you can see, all those heals that are stacking up for me. And somebody died. I almost died, but I'm a pro. They're gonna get them rezzed up. Go ahead and drop a couple heals in there. And that's going to happen. I mean, people are going to die from time to time. Don't freak out about it or anything. Okay, as you can see, there's a timer now that says rift timer. A DPS needs to get into that rift and go and clear the rifts out. Usually only one DPS goes, depending on how many rifts spawn. There's one there. I only see one rift up. Sometimes they spawn back here. Sometimes they spawn over here. These people are probably wondering what the hell I'm doing. But that's basically it. I mean, you just gotta kill him. But just one other thing that I guess it doesn't piss me off, but it's one of those things that just because you can queue for a dungeon doesn't mean you should. I have no problems teaching people how to do dungeons if I know I'm in there teaching them. My biggest thing is when I ask somebody who's never been here before and nobody says anything, and then they constantly die going through the balls, or you know, the tank doesn't know how to tank Orcus properly. I'm lagging. I'm probably gonna end up leeching myself onto this dude. Luckily I didn't. And that's Orcus's dungeon. Completed. Demonic rank 5, I'll take that. And here recently, this chest has been glitching for me, but luckily it didn't. Why am I going to pull the Shard of Orcus 1 that I've been farming for like 200 dungeons? Probably not, because I never get lucky. And I didn't. So, that is Orcus's dungeon, Castle Never. I hope this video helped y'all. If it did, be sure to hit a like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed to see more Neverwinter content. If you have any suggestions or comments or anything that you want to leave down in the comment section, I will try to reply to them. If y'all have any questions, just ask me. You know, I have no problem teaching people how to do dungeons. I love doing dungeons. There's Castle Ravenloft is pretty much the only dungeon I haven't ran so far. So yeah, that's that. I hope y'all liked the video. This is Iron Noobs saying peace.